story about how I learned how to do what I do. All right, Ellis, this is your job. It's pretty simple for this part here. We're just going to tilt your head up slightly, close your eyes, relax, don't scrunch up. It's makeup, it can't hurt you. Stay relaxed. He looks good. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, over decades of painting tens of thousands of human faces, I have learned a lot about what I do. And one particular thing I've learned is anything you can imagine, you can turn a person's face into that thing. All the stuff I've been able to do as an artist on paper or canvas, I can figure out a way to do that same kind of imagery right on a human face. There is one difference, however. When it's a person's face you're painting, the art you create can come to life. Before I go on, there's one important thing to mention, and ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to remember this is important. Folks, people call what I do face painting. This is not paint. You don't ever put paint on somebody's face. The only thing you should put on somebody's face is stuff that we know is safe for their skin, and this is the stuff we call makeup. A face painter is a type of makeup artist. They should be using a good makeup. And Ellis, the kind of makeup I use is pretty cool. You'll be glad to hear this. The makeup I use is the kind of makeup designed for special effects. This is the makeup worn by actors in Hollywood movies. We turn into monsters, aliens, superheroes, all that stuff we love to see. This is why it's safe to put on his face. It can't hurt him, and I know you folks will be glad to hear this part, it washes off. Comes off with soap and water. This is not what we call a life choice. Which is good because I am an unusual face painter. I don't ask people what they want to be. I surprise everybody because I turn them into stories. And that means I'm really happy that everything I do up here is temporary and safe. Now there is a reason why I know so much about what I do. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have been painting people's faces for a very, very long time. It might surprise you to hear the first time I ever painted somebody's face professionally. This was all the way back in 1976. Yeah, I'm old, but I was young back then. I was an apprentice with a theater company on Long Island, where I'm from, and part of our theater training was how to turn people, how to paint your face. Now, since I was always into art as a kid and I knew how to paint, I was very good in the makeup classes. So when our theater company was asked to face paint volunteers as clowns for a big 1976 style bicentennial parade, I was the young actor put in charge of the job. And that very first day we did this professionally. I got some friends of mine together and we painted something like 300 volunteers up as clowns. Oh, don't worry, you're not going to be a clown though. Because that was the thing we knew how to do. And you know what? They went into that parade, and we learned a couple things that day. First off, we learned we were good at it. The faces looked good. Theater training was a great way to learn how to use makeup. The second thing we learned is this is fun. All right? We had a blast that day. In fact, we had so much fun that day, we kept face painting. By the next summer, we'd opened our own face painting booth at Adventureland Amusement Park on Long Island. Where we kept turning kids into clowns, since that's what we had learned how to do. But I'll be honest, we actually wound up making more money on the weekends. For on the weekends, the teenagers would show up, and we'd face paint all the teenage guys in the faces from the rock band Kiss. It was the 70s. I couldn't count how many 60-year-olds I painted as Gene Simmons that first summer. But then my career changed. I wound up going to California, and I was painting faces at Venice Beach in California when I saw an article with photographs of the makeup from the Chinese opera. As soon as I saw those faces and read that people have been doing that kind of makeup on stage in China for 500 years, I realized something about what I do. Face painting doesn't have to just be for fun. It could be an art. I become an artist who paints faces, and that's what I became. And I went back to New York, got some artists together with me, and we studied masks and makeup from cultures around the world. Those are the masters of this particular art form, to learn all the different things you could do to a human face. And just like I have found out on my own experimenting, anything we learned in art class, we could figure out how to paint a human face like that. Like I'm sure you folks have seen what I've done right here for Ellis. Like all artists like to do, I like to paint portraits. So here, I have painted a portrait of this young man right on his own face. Now wait a minute, I'm not sure you folks recognize him. You used to sing this nice young man smile. Okay, big smile. There he is, now you can see him. There he is, right there on his face. And he's happy to be on his face. Why not? He's got a nice day on his face, right? The sky's all blue on his face, no clouds. He's not expecting rain on that face. In fact, look. It's such a nice day. The sun came out on Ellis's face. I'm just guessing, but I bet he's going to stay on that face the whole day. I mean, that's a nice day on that face, right? Wouldn't we all like to be on that face? Now, I got to tell you, though, as I said, we artists realize that anything could be on a human face, right? So he might have something else on his face as well. He might even have something a little bit spooky on his face. Like a spider. And if there was a spider on his face, he would need to be afraid of his own face. But I know what you folks are thinking. Here's this guy telling you that anything can be on someone's face, right? How do we even know this is Ellis at all? This whole thing could be a disguise. He could be anyone. He could be anything. He might even be something completely different. Like an alien space monster. Alien space monster. Alien space monster. In which case, we all need to be afraid of his face. Don't worry, he's not an alien space monster, is he? No, he just has his face painted. But you see, folks, this is what I learned about what I do. Painting faces is an art of transformation. When you change the way someone looks, you change the way people see them. And that is a change of identity. This is why performers, actors like myself, we use makeup, masks, costumes, and of course today, special effects to be turned into all the different things we need to be to bring a story to life. And that's how my show first started. The first time I ever used makeup on stage like this, I was doing a show in which we were telling a coyote story, so I painted myself up as the coyote to tell the story. But then I was stuck being coyote for the rest of the show. So the next time we worked it out, I got someone from the audience and I made them coyote. That way I could stay the storyteller, and I went on like that, going from face to face to face, story to story to story, with me being the storyteller. And so that's how Story Faces started out. Now, I didn't mean to worry you and suggest we had an alien space monster coming down here to attack us. But if we did, you know what? We still have nothing to worry about. For we have Ellis and his face to defend us.
Stick out your tongue now.
With his mighty sword and magic flower. For this is Ellis the Brave, and his face is amazing. Thank you. All right, sir. You did a great job for me, and they all had a good time watching.